Lesson 108, the genitive case. In the last lesson, we took a moment to talk about possession in general and how we express that in English. Quick review. In English, we can use an apostrophe plus the letter S to show possession, or we can use the word of. Those are basically the two choices you have if you want to make a noun possessive. But if you have a language in which the nouns are inflected and have inflected endings and cases, we do this by using one of the cases. And you'll see this in Latin, you'll see it in German, you'll see it in ancient Greek, and also in Russian. All these languages have in common the genitive case, and that's the case we're studying today. The genitive case is a case that shows possession. For the nouns that we are studying right now, you should notice that the genitive singular form is the same as the nominative plural form. And you can see that here in this first chart in Lesson 108. Interestingly, it's the same way in Latin. In the first declension, in Latin, the nominative plural is the same as the genitive singular. And that's not a coincidence. Russian and Latin are related languages. They come from the same parent language, which is called Proto-Indo-European. And they have a very similar declension structure. In both Latin and Greek and Russian, the first declension is mainly feminine nouns that end with an A sound at the end of the word. And so here's the important thing to remember. When you use the genitive case, that's how you show that something belongs to someone. You don't need to use the word of in Russian. You don't have to say the car of Anna. If you want to say Anna's car or the car of Anna, you just put the word for car, and then you put the name Anna in the genitive case. And by putting it in that case, it shows that it is possessing something. And so in a strange kind of way, you can think of, in English, when we add an apostrophe and S to make a word possessive, that's kind of like putting it in the genitive case. When you put a noun in the genitive case in Russian, it's as if you're adding an apostrophe and an S. You're just showing that that's a possessive form. And again, the genitive case does not need help from any other word. It doesn't need a helper word like of. It can show possession all by itself without any assistance from any other word. Now you may be wondering, how do I tell these words apart? If the nominative plural is the same as the genitive singular, how do I know which is which? And the answer to that question, as with many other questions, is context. You look at the context of the sentence. In this particular book, we are going to put possessive genitive nouns directly after the noun that they are possessing. So if you see a noun and then another noun that looks genitive, it probably is, if it's coming right after a noun. And so that's a big context clue for you as a reader to make sense of all this stuff. Don't be discouraged if this is a challenge for you to use these inflected noun endings, these different forms of the noun that communicate different things, especially when the nominative plural and genitive singular look the same. Don't be discouraged. The trick here is practice. As you work with the language more and more, and you get accustomed to the different endings and just the different patterns of word orders, you're going to get accustomed to this, and it will soon become normal. You just have to keep on practicing with it, and you'll get better and better as you go along.